Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
On Radio City Talk.
It's Radio City Talk. It's Mental Health Extra. Jake Mills is in the studio today. Jake, it's great to see you from Chasing the Stigma.
And you, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. I saw the Everton game at the weekend. You weren't on the bench. What was going on? I thought you had your new partnership with Everton Football Club.
Yeah, no, because I'm the marquee son, and it's going to be the first home game.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So for people who weren't listening last week, Jake Mills has teamed up with Everton Football Club as Everton go about looking to build the first purpose-built mental health centre that any Premier League club or indeed football club has come up with as well. There's going to be a fundraising drive, and actually Jake's charity Chasing the Stigma is going to be behind this and also providing mental health training for Everton players, Everton staff, the manager, the board, the chairman, the stewards. It's
still to be seen exactly how that kind of pans out and who and what and where and when. But Everton have shown a commitment. And what a commitment it has been from them, and the reaction that we've had already, not just from people saying this is a great thing to do and giving credit to the charity and to the club, but we've actually seen people coming in asking for help. At the moment the facility is not there, and it's we don't have that drop-in centre at the moment for people struggling with the mental health, but already people are contacting the club to say, this has made me realise that I'm going through something. I'm reaching out for help and support, so that's why it's really important that we are there to be helping staff, to allow them to understand how to direct to help and support. But I just think it just shows how big this campaign is. It's not a kind of promotional thing. It's real. It's affecting people. It's trying to get to people who are affected by mental illness or mental health difficulties, and it's making a difference already. And we're only not even a week in after the announcement, so it just shows that once this building is built, that it's going to be absolutely huge for the area.
The government have promised something like £100 million to build or to try and end rough sleeping around the country. This is a £100 million pot, which is going for England, the area of England, and obviously that will disseminate down to the regions as well. Do you expect that places like Liverpool will be able to get cash from services like this that might go towards centres like this, working with local councils, working with local authorities to make it happen?
I would like to think so. I think they go hand in hand, and we know that homelessness is an issue all around the country, and particularly here in Liverpool as well, and know that the council are doing a lot to address that. But no more needs to be done, and there's only so much you can do without that help and support. For example, somebody who did come to speak to me after the Everton announcement was saying that he was struggling with his mental health, but his biggest problem at the moment was that he was homeless and he couldn't get the help and support he needed because he had nowhere to stay. So the two go hand in hand, absolutely, of course they do. So yeah, we would like to think so, yeah.
Jake Mills is with us from Chasing the Stigma. It's Mental Health Extra for Mental Health Monday. This will be available free to download, of course, as part of the Mental Health Monday podcast feed. Jake, Paul was on yesterday's programme. He's an author now. I always feel really sorry for people who have found themselves in a situation where they've reached out for help and they've not quite got what they needed. And Paul's story was a good example of that one. And I kind of stressed throughout the interview that we don't ever want to put people off. But I guess, have also got to represent that sometimes people don't quite get the answers that they're looking for when they do reach out, and there might be different paths, or you may need to explore different paths to finally get to what you need to get to.
Yeah, I think you could tell from Paul's interview as well how bad it has been for him, and potentially still is a bit of a struggle for him as well at the moment. And he's obviously done amazing to come through and to be where he is today. Truth be told, my own story is not one of going and getting help and everything working fine, medication working fine, and doctors being fantastic. However, what my story, what Paul's story, what a lot of other people's story, kind of the important thing to take from all of them for me is that you do need choices, you do need options, and you need to know about the options that are available. Yes, you might take some medication and it might not be right for you, but there's loads of other medications. And I think sometimes people don't realise that you can go back and say this medication's not working for me, and you can, of course you can try and you can find what's right for you, and that's why we created the Hub of Hope. That's why we created Chasing the Stigmas, to give people options, to say there's not just one size fits all approach here, and you don't have to accept a one size fits all approach. If something's not working for you, then go back and get something else, try something else, because there's loads of different options for you.
Yeah, I mean, part of Paul's story as well, when he talked through finally trying to get himself sorted, he was at risk of homelessness. He ended up moving in with somebody. Turns out then they developed cancer. He ended up becoming a carer. I always say this to people. People have got complicated lives. And actually, you know, if you're already dealing with issues as well, you're already trying to make life-changing decisions as well, and then life throws these things at you, must be so difficult. You know, even if you are the most resilient person on the planet, if it's something as simple as the roof over your head, or the mortality or not of your housemates, these things, not surprisingly, can escalate quite sharpish.
Yeah, and that comes on top of all the things that he was having to deal with anyway. And that, you know, as you said, even from purely as a carer point of view, you know, we need to be doing more to make sure that carers are getting the support that they need to, and the impact that looking after somebody will have on their mental health. But, you know, on top of everything else, is so much to deal with. But, you know, at the end of the day, and at the end of yesterday's interview as well, Paul speaks about how he has come through that. You know, yes, he was speaking about how difficult he found it, how he wasn't getting help, how medication wasn't working, all the things that went wrong, and how it was bad for him. But then he came through it. He's writing books. He's living the life he wants to live, and so although it is a story that's peppered with you know, hard times and bad times and things not going right, it is a story of hope, and it is a story of how you can come through that, and that kind of the persistence, and that must have took some strength from him to have that persistence to come through that and to stick with it, and that resilience to still, no matter what was thrown at him, to come through. So fair play to him.
I guess as well, when he made the decision to make the change in terms of his lifestyle, he was a nightclub DJ. He wanted to be a writer. He wanted to go to bed at 10 o'clock. He wanted to get at 8 o'clock in the morning. Actually, just sort of the way life is when you're in your mid-20s, it doesn't necessarily work like that. That, you don't have a big fallback on, unless you've got loads of savings and you think, you know what, I'm just going to walk away. He talked about the fact he felt like he needed to take weeks off work as he went through new medication. But of course, you know, you can't just say to your boss, I need some time off. Maybe some people can say that, and that's great. But that's difficult as well. When you think there might be an issue, you want to make a life-changing decision. And how many of us, you know, would make life-changing decisions if we just had a little bit of respite, if we had an opportunity, if we had the time, if we had the money to be able to make that happen as well. Yeah,
and, you know, that is a big deal, to give everything up and to almost start again, for anybody to do that. And again, you know, Paul was talking about how he left things too late, which is a really valid point, and about how, you know, if you can be seeking help or reaching out for help earlier, you know, to help prevent things getting to that stage. However, what he doesn't really, I don't think he really gave himself credit for, was that, yeah, okay, he might have left things late in terms of his own mental health, but he still made a huge decision to leave that lifestyle behind. That's a huge step, a step that I would say the majority of people don't take. So you know, it's important when you're looking back in hindsight and you're looking back at the bad things. It's important to look at the good things as well, and the positive steps that you do make.
It was interesting when he was talking about, he was looking at his mates, you know, he'd kill for the idea of, you know, just having a mortgage. Everyone's so guilty of that, aren't they? Of thinking the grass is greener. Oh, look at them. They're happy. And when I've got where they are, I'll be happy too. It's that idea that you say, I'm not going to be happy until whatever it is that you're looking at. But I've done that where I've looked at people who are going on holiday, who've travelled the world equally. You know, within a space of 3 months, I've looked at people who've got married when I wasn't married, who had kids when I didn't have kids. And I've kind of thought, oh, wish I had that. So you fly off in many different directions. What your head wants, what your heart wants, I think is a very different thing. But you got to juggle with this in sort of 21st century life with all this social media going on, knowing what's real, what's not real. And people go, oh, Mick, I'm surprised you want anything outside of what you've got. You think, well, you always want a little bit of something else, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do, and everybody's got to have aspirations, and there's a big difference between having an aspiration or being envious of somebody, or even sometimes just not wanting somebody else to have anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's important as well when you're talking about your mental health, that comparison to other people, because I think in a similar vein, you can have people who will look at other people's situations and compare theirs to them and think, well, I can't be struggling, or I can't be depressed because I do have a mortgage and I do have kids and I do have a good job, and they don't. So if anybody's going to be depressed, it should be them, not me. And it's important not to compare yourself with people, whether it's those kind of lifestyle choices or whether it is for your own mental health. It's important to know yourself, whether that is know what you want to achieve in life and going for it, or knowing how you feel. Nobody knows you more than you do, and it's important for you to concentrate on yourself. I always think, if you see somebody with something that you want, whether it's a car or whether it's a job or whatever, and you think, I wish I had that, then you need to just take that and make it a kind of a determination rather than a jealousy.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? If it becomes something which you are then see yourself negatively as a result of the fact you've not got it, or you look at them and think that because they've got something that you want, that they're in the wrong, or that they're the bad person.
Yeah.
That's when I think it's become more of an issue. Because now I see people who are going on ski holidays, and I just think, well, I just couldn't go on a ski holiday. Like, I've got 2 young kids. It'd be a nightmare. You can't take babies on ski slopes as far as I'm aware.
No.
My 3-year-old won't be able to do anything, and if they were, I'd have to be with them all the time, or I'd have to pay for expensive childcare, which would make it an unaffordable holiday in the first place. Salopets, I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think it just logistically it wouldn't happen. So I can kind of go, oh, fair, enjoy your ski holiday, great. That's just not going to be for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, all you want to do is go to an ice bar, innit? Like, no one goes skiing to ski.
It's all about the après ski.
Yeah, but again, it's about if you see something, say it was a ski holiday and you really wanted to go and you can't, then it's about saying, okay, well, what can I do to make sure that I do get to do that in 6 months' time, a year's time? And again, everything to do with your mental health is the same. It's making small plans and it's planning the future. It's knowing that something's not going to change overnight, but it's taking the right steps to get there in the end. And I think that's something that Paul didn't give himself credit for, and he deserves credit for. He took steps and he's got to where he wanted to be. And I'm sure there was a time when he never thought he would get there.
My nana used to say, when I went on the pools, we'll all go to Disneyland. I think now I probably wouldn't fancy going to Disneyland, but I kind of feel like I need to go. I'll have to take my own kids.
I was going to say, what was it like? But she didn't.
No. She didn't win on the pools. Surprisingly, she never won on the pools. Rubbish at guessing the results of football matches. But anyway, I feel obliged to go and do that at some point. Jake Mills is with us from Chasing the Stigma. It's Mental Health Extra. A-level results day. Do you remember your A-level results off the top of your head?
No, I remember I'd basically given up. I'd properly really given up with the whole idea of them. And like my best mate did as well. I ended up going and picking his results up and texting him what he'd got.
Oh, great.
Didn't do great.
How did he get on?
Yeah, but no, because I remember being in sixth form, and I just decided, you know what, I feel like I just want to get a job. I just want to make money, and I wasn't big on the stress really, and I probably would say that the stress of it all is what turned me away. So I ended up working in a call centre, which again wasn't the best thing. But I did end up going to uni anyway after all that.
Oh, is that right? I think that's the thing, and one of the things about when everyone goes, there's 2 sides to it on the A-level results day, and I disagree with neither, which is basically, nice one, go and be great now that you've got these results, because I think your results don't mean you're going to be great. Equally, that thing of going, well, I never got my levels and it never did me any harm. Look at Alan Sugar and and I think, well, it's actually not either of those two things. It's somewhere in between, which is basically, sometimes it feels like your life is going in one long straight line and it's one thing to one thing to one thing, and you're going through the doors, and as you go through the doors, you're closing behind you, and you think, right, I don't need to worry about that anymore. And as you get older, you realise that actually life is just a series of doors, and you think you're going through one door, but guess what? If that one doesn't open, the one next to it might open, and if that one's closed to you, the one next to that will open, and you can go through that one, and your journey will continue in that route.
Yeah, it's funny because I had this conversation over this weekend, and a friend said to me, we went camping, so we were just like talking a load of broken biscuits and getting all like deep and everything. But he said, looking back, is there anything that you wish that you'd change in terms of career or what you would do, study, blah blah. And on what you've just said, I'm now running a national mental health charity. At no point would I ever
don't set about trying to set up a national mental health charity.
Like, at no point would I ever have dreamt that I would do this for the job. At no point. It was never my intention, never my ambition to do anything like this. But life. You go along with it. As you said, what maybe you might have chased, that door will close, but another one is there, and it's about looking out for opportunities. Opportunities come about all the time. Doesn't matter what your results are. I think you're absolutely spot on. Is that we do need to. There's a big difference between kind of saying giving people hope in a bad time to say, well, your results don't matter, but also let's give people credit for results that they get, because people and kids work incredibly hard to get those results, and they deserve credit for that as well. But I always, around results day, think of Bruce Springsteen record, lyric, which is, we learnt more in a 3-minute record, baby, than we ever learnt in school. And I always like that, because do you know what? You learn to pass exams, but it's outside of school is where you actually learn who you are, what you like, and where you want to turn.
See, I think that's disrespectful to the education system. All those teachers and professionals who put hours and hours and hours every single week just for some bloke wearing blue jeans and a white T-shirt to go, yeah, school, boo.
Yeah, I'd get him on. I'd be up for it.
Bruce, there's been people there who've gone through training years and years and years, guiding children hand in hand through their early years, their most difficult times, their vulnerable years. Yeah. Bruce rocks up and goes, we don't need no education. That was a different band.
Yeah, just put the CD on, is basically what he said.
Basically, these rock and roll styles are a dangerous threat to our children's educational attainment.
I'd get them on, and just, because he's probably never been asked anything like this.
He's certainly never been grilled about the legitimacy of his lyrics.
And basically he needs the Charlie Paxman to really to hold him to task, really.
Bruce, in 1978 you sang this lyric. Imagine that. He's like, there's a reason Bruce Springsteen has never played Liverpool. Is it Bruce Springsteen who's never played Liverpool?
No, he's never played Liverpool, and I think it's because of you.
And he never will, based on the threat of me doing an interview with him, pulling him up on lyrics that you've thrown at me during Mental Health Extra. A mate of mine who he went through clearing to go to university. So that's I didn't get the results. I'm not good enough to have the plan. He then moved up to University of Central Lancashire, where I went, Preston. We moved in together. He's got his partner there now. He's got 2 kids. He's got his house there now. And that was based on failure.
And you passed your...
And I passed, and we're in exactly the same place, except he lives in Preston and I don't. But that's interesting. But that was a moment of failure where he then had to take second best. Yeah. And if you said to him now, right, you can pass that exam now, but you lose your kids and you lose your partner and you lose your house, so you end up in a different place with different kids and a different partner, chances are he'd say, you know what, I'll probably stick.
Yeah, I think I went through clearing. Well, I definitely did. I took a job in a call centre for a bank, and it was about 4 weeks in, I was like, oh no, I've made a mistake here. So I went through clearing, and yeah, that's kind of, I've got a lot to thank for my university years, because it wasn't necessarily the degree that I'd done, which was media, so nothing's ever come good of that. No. But I learned, I met people who introduced me to Comedy Trust, to being stand-up, to doing a course, to all that stuff is what came from university. So just the life experience and the opportunities that came from that was significant in my life. So I'd never regret going to university. But yeah, it wasn't certainly when I was doing A-levels, I was like, I'm not really interested. It's just about taking, I think the thing that we can say about it is about taking opportunities. Opportunities come up, and don't try not to stress too much about a grade, because really it doesn't matter too much. It will do for some people.
And if you in any doubts about that, listen to the music of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, honestly, just like leave school and listen to Bruce. That's it.
That dreadful advice was brought to you by Chasing the Stigma and Jake Mills. Jake, thank you for your time. Best of luck to everyone getting their A-level results. Really hope that whichever pathway opens up for you, it's the right pathway for you, and you can do it on your own terms. Really appreciate you joining us, Jake. We'll see you again next week on Radio City Talk.
Mental Health Monday on Radio City Talk with Mick Coyle.
Radio City Talk.